Hey, welcome back. It is episode 4 of Loudmouth Fisticuffs. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us. We skipped a week, but we are back. We're sorry about that, Mr.
That's
Jeff.
my fault. That's my fault.
Right.
I was traveling, so that was my fault.
That's all right, Jeff. My man, how's it going?
Everything is lovely, man. We've got so much to talk about this time, guys. There's so much happening this week. This past week when it came to fights, man. All kinds of good stuff. Josh, just so much content that we have for episode 4. Episode 4, man. I think we should be starting off George Lucas style. You know, trust me, that was the lamest Star Trek opening in the history of, Star Wars. See, that's what a jackass I am. I should know the difference between the two brands. Star Wars, Star Trek. Go ahead and crucify me right now, you super nerds. I can take it. I can take the nails through the hands.
I'll speak up for you. Me and Jeff were talking about Star Trek beforehand, so maybe his brain was. That's okay.
My brain was what? Finish the sentence. My brain was what?
I don't know, man. Maybe I was a little confused. You get a little confused, Jeff, sometimes. So just.
Okay. God forbid a human being ever get confused.
So. Speaking of tons of content and tons of stuff to talk about, cool part is, we didn't get a chance to talk about BKFC 10. We will today. But before we get to bare knuckle,
yes,
I kind of want to talk about Wilder and Fury.
We have a new lineal heavyweight champion of the world. That's right, folks. Freaking the Gypsy King Tyson Fury got it done. And I am so happy about that because finally, we have a heavyweight champion that not only kicks ass in the ring, but entertains us every step of the way. Not saying that Deontay Wilder didn't entertain us. It just has always seemed to me that it's been more organic from Tyson Fury. Deontay is very, he's definitely good behind the mic, but I'm sorry to say, Deontay, it looks a little forced, man. Just a bit. Just a bit.
Fury has that it factor.
It is. And Tyson just understands the entertainment value and what people want. Boxing is finally getting to where it needs to be, over the top. It's been so conservative for so many years. It's even been called the gentleman's sport for as long as I can remember. I mean, people, this is not the 30s and the 40s where the fans come in fedoras, pork pies, and three-piece suits to a fight. I mean, every now and then you will still see your tuxedo-clad, ringside spectators at the MGM Garden in Las Vegas for a championship fight. This is true. But it's changed, and it's changed for the better because finally we have an entertainment factor with our pound for pounds. And we need that. We've been needing that. We have been needing that so much. We need those colorful characters. Colorful characters sell. People who just come in and fight and have no personality, have the personality of a fucking soda cracker. People do not want that. People do not relate to, they don't relate to that. They relate to over the top. They want to see somebody that they can vicariously live through somehow because maybe they're acting in a way that's contrary to how they believe. So that's just how I see it. But I'm just happy, man. I'm happy the Gypsy King went in there, got it done, and more importantly, got the decisive victory.
Jeff, for the listeners at home and for me, what the hell is a soda cracker?
Soda cracker. Oh my goodness. Did I use a saying, an Illinois saying? Oh my goodness. What I meant to say was saltine cracker. Saltine cracker. Saltine cracker. We call it a soda cracker up north. And I guess, trust me, I've been South Texan for 30 years this year. So maybe there's still a little left in me that clings on to some of the verbiage from Northern Illinois. So, like I said, string me up. Put me up there. I'm on the cross.
Illinois said... You guys say like sody pop, right? Up in like Illinois, is that
soda pop? Or we do, yeah. Soda pop. Soda pop. I don't think they say soda water. Soda water is definitely more southern, but soda pop is. But soda pop is definitely, and also everything can be a Coke.
A lot of people say club soda. They don't even say just call it club soda. You know what I mean?
Or you could even go ahead and you could even go further than that. You could do Three Stooges era style. Bicarbonate of soda.
Yeah. That sounds fancy.
It does sound fancy, and it also sounds really gay on top of that. So, I mean, and not gay in that way. If you're going to read into that, folks, please do yourself a favor. Stop basking in the glow of your participation trophies and realize that this is called funny and comedy. We're having a good time. If you take offense to it, I have the right not to care.
So, speaking of fancy and maybe the other one too, you talk about the entertainment factor. I guess really, if we're going to start somewhere, we're going to start right off at the entrances.
Jesus Christ.
Fury coming out on that throne carried by the women, which
I loved it. I love that, man. That talk about bow down to the king, man. That's what people want to see. Poor girls, man, had to carry his big ass, 6'9", 270 pounds. Jesus Christ.
I think it was on a roller, but it still.
It was, but it's still.
Yeah.
It's still. Yeah, but
yeah.
still. Yeah. Yeah.
And then and then of course the reason why Deontay Wilder lost the fight is 40 pounds.
Shit! I call foul, good sir. You're gonna tell me that he lost the fight because he decided to put on 40 pounds of Sauron?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dude,
yeah.
I don't think so. Now, you and I talked a little bit about this before we went live on Loudmouth Fisticuffs, and we were talking about the fact that, he didn't get an opportunity. Apparently, he's saying that he didn't get an opportunity to try anything on, gauge the weight of everything before that. I'm like, something? I call foul on that because this is the biggest fight of your fucking life. And you have got a substantial costume for your walkout that apparently weighs a shit ton more than what you've ever worn before. And you weren't going to go ahead and give that a rehearsal and a walkthrough. And you're saying from the time that you walked from the tunnel to the time that you got into the ring, that brief amount of time with all that shit on, wore down your fucking legs and was the cause of your 7th round demise? I call fucking foul. He's the heavyweight. He's the heavyweight champion. Well, I have to say that in a past tense now, but at that point he was heavyweight. He was the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. And you're telling me that a fucking Halloween outfit is the cause of you losing that title? Oh my God, man. That's the biggest bunch of bull. This guy's a fertilizer salesman.
How long would you say that walk is? 10 minutes at best?
At absolute best, and even that might be a stretch. And even 10 minutes actually might be a stretch.
40 pounds times 10 minutes. Yeah, I no matter, I just can't. I'm trying to picture like any way to slice it, and there's no way to slice it to where that even makes sense.
The only way it would make sense is if that was causing any kind of pressure, and it was like cutting off. If it was like cutting off, like pressure on your leg and everything like that. But even
it was top heavy. It was a top heavy outfit.
And you didn't. He didn't say that he was having any shoulder issues or anything like that. And I'm like, dude, you had fucking skulls on each fucking side of your shoulders, and you're telling me that the issue was with your fucking legs?
I was reading something else. Oh, here we go. So we're kind of fast forwarding a little bit here, but I just think it's so hilarious. I'm going to have to do it.
That's all right.
I pulled up this article where Wilder was talking about that. So his coach, the guy that threw in the towel, right?
At the 7th round. Yep.
Which mind you, I'm just going to put my 2 cents in the mind you.
Oh, didn't he fire him?
He fired him. Now, mind you, the coaches, like in that situation, and like referees, when they stop the fights, they're doing it to protect the fighters, right? Like that is at the end of the day, that is their job, to protect their fighters. Yeah, obviously you're the coach, you want your guy to win, but I think at the end of the day, you want your guy to be safe, come back and fight again. That is at least I hope that's the end goal of everybody. With that said, pull up my trusty phone here. He is now claims that he thinks that his coach was possibly influenced by Tyson Fury's camp and maybe even conspired against him. And this is real. This isn't something that was like made up. He says that, you know, I don't want to get too much into conspiracy theory. He said, but he's like, I just can't fathom. He's like, I can't. I'm not making this up, folks. You can look at this stuff up. He's like, I just can't fathom, you know, losing in that way. He was like, I was ready to go. I could have went further. He said, I was more hurt in the Ortiz fight, and he didn't stop the fight. He's like, so what leads me? How can I honestly think that this man thought he was saving me? He's like, I can't think of anything else.
Josh, I'm going to tell you, man, you and I need a lifeboat right now because we are drowning in a sea of bullshit as of right now. Oh, my God. So many excuses. Just, dude, you got beat. You got beat. He was the better man. And I love how in his post-fight interview, he was saying, I'm not making excuses. No, not now. No, wait until the press gets wait till you get out of the ring and afterwards, and then you can start making the excuses, and it comes more and more. Dude, you got beat. You were not the better man that night. Plain and simple. I know that that's a hard pill to swallow because you're coming into this fight undefeated. You're coming into this fight undefeated. I mean, I understand what a hard pill. You were 42-0 coming into this fight with 41 knockouts, which in my opinion is one of the most remarkable heavyweight records in recent memory. Deontay loves to finish fights. He didn't do it this time. He got beat. He got bested. Now, I understand that there, may have been some controversy around throwing in the towel, and there always is. There's always a controversy once the corner takes over in response for the fighter. That's just the way that the game goes. So, you can say what you will, but I think that that's bullshit, man. I'm calling a lot of excuses and a lot of unnecessary excuses that even the fight fans themselves are going to really think, you know what? That just doesn't make any sense. We were there. We were watching the fight. I watched the fight. I watched the fight from moment one to moment done. Tyson Fury was the man that night. And that's just all there is to it. It was a dominating performance. It was a one-sided performance. Tyson was in shape. He looked great. He has such I love his style of fighting. I'm a huge fan of his fights. And also, let me say one more thing about his entrance that I really dug that a lot of people may not have thought about. I thought it was pretty cool that his walkout theme was Crazy by Patsy Cline. You see, I grew up in a family that was all about the older music, and my mother was like a huge fucking Patsy Cline fan. So I grew up with Patsy Cline music, and to hear a throwback like that with a modern day fighter who's only 30 years old to throw out a Patsy Cline thing, I was like, that's actually pretty cool, man. Not everybody's going to get that reference, but I sure as hell did. I enjoyed it.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Refresh my memory, Jeff, because you have a better memory than I do.
Fuck yeah, I do.
You've got the memory of an elephant? Elephant never forgets, right?
What, you call me fat? Fuck
no,
you.
That's not what I'm calling you. I'm saying it all. Really? Me? I'm calling you that? Okay. The Ortiz fight. So yeah. I'll circle back to the Wilder Fury fight. But I kind of want to go back to his comments where he talked about he was more hurt in the Ortiz fight. Now, I only saw it one time. I've only seen the fight one time between Wilder and Ortiz. Now, that was the fight.
Now, are we talking one or two?
I guess it was I'm guessing the first, because the first one, that was the one where he was beat up pretty much the whole fight, and then he came back and won. He got
that
was the first one, right?
He got a TKO in the 10th round. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm assuming he's talking about that fight because I don't think the second fight went the same way. I'm assuming he's talking about the first fight.
No, so, the second fight went much quicker.
It was much quicker, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, like Ortiz was outstriking him and landing some shots on him, but it was not the same.
Well, not much quicker. I mean, it was the 7th round as opposed to the 10th round, but it was 3 rounds sooner. So yes. Yes.
Well, in the sense of like the damage that he was taking was nowhere near the same. Like he was taking shots, but he never looked. I can't remember ever him looking like something's wrong. In the fight with Fury, after he got popped in the ear and his ear was bleeding, it fucked up his balance, right? It fucked up his orientation and everything. You could tell his equilibrium. Like it just fucked everything up.
Oh yeah, he got rocked. He got rocked. Yeah, it was a rock.
And him like staggering around, and he got dropped, several times. Completely different situation. So him saying, this part that I don't quite put two and two together. Like I said, maybe you can help me. He was not in that kind of danger in the Ortiz fight. Yes, he was getting beat up. Yes, he was losing the fight with Ortiz, but it wasn't.
Well, he got the better of him for the first 4 rounds. Now that's for damn sure. Right. That's for damn sure. I mean, honestly, Wilder started turning it around in round 5, but those first 4 rounds, Ortiz owned those rounds. That's for damn sure.
Right. But and he's talking about he was hurt more in that fight.
He was. No, he dominated. He was in control in the second fight, 100%.
Yeah. So I guess I don't know. Maybe I can't understand that comment because to me the Ortiz didn't present the same danger that he was in with Fury.
Fury is dangerous across the board.
Yeah.
People don't seem to understand that. Fury is a different kind of animal. He's a different kind of animal than we've ever had in the history of heavyweight professional boxing. There's no one that you can compare him to. That's the problem. Because, I mean, he's so unpredictable. Just when you think you've knocked his ass out, he sits up like the motherfucking Undertaker. And you tell me, I've never seen that before. I've never seen that in the history of heavyweight boxing. I've never seen someone get knocked out and sit straight up like nothing fucking happened. I'm dusting off your shoulders, standing up and like, what? I just saw him got floored. I saw his eyes roll back when he went down. He sits up like the motherfucking Undertaker.
It's crazy. He said, Fury said that he got the idea for the way to fight Wilder in the second fight after he got up in the first fight.
That's weird.
He said when he took it to him, he realized, oh shit, I should have been doing this the entire fight.
Mm-hmm.
The way he was just, pressing him and going for the shots because he was playing it, I don't want to say safe, but he was playing a little more technical in the first fight. He was playing a little bit more defensively and countering and stuff like that. But, which completely different in the second fight. He was on the aggressive. He was pressing the action. Wilder is used to being, and I said this, and I hope people understand. I said this in the video I put out earlier that not so much in size, but Wilder is used to being the bigger man in presence.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay? Not size, because he's not always the bigger man size, but in terms of presence. He's used to dominating. He's used to shrinking that ring, right? Because they say, like, the goal, one of the big goals is to make that ring as small as possible, right, for your opponent. That's what he's good at. He's used to making that ring small. He's used to making them fight his fight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's good at, right? Tyson turned it around and flipped the script. Now Wilder's on his heels, backing up the entire time. He's not being able to throw these power shots like he was.
I'm going to be honest with you about Fury, in my opinion. I think Fury, in my opinion, I think he has the best radar in the division. He sees punches coming, man. He does. He just has. I just think that he has a good anticipation of what's coming his way. And I don't think that a lot of other heavyweights have that. And honestly, I think it's rare for kind of modern day heavyweights to have that kind of perception, because, especially when you're talking of super ranges between one fighter that's 6'7" and the other that's 6'9". I mean, these are shots that are thrown from down motherfucking town. And what was weird about Wilder is that when Wilder first won the WBC belt, several years ago, it wasn't a decisive win in the eyes of the fans because it was like, okay, so he's the champion, but he wasn't thought to be like a dominating champion at the time. A lot of people actually thought that maybe, this is a guy who maybe got the belt before he started becoming great.
Yeah.
He wasn't great yet. And usually when you get to that point to when you pick up a heavyweight title, you have to have a greatness of you or a greatness that's about ready to be unleashed.
Yeah.
That didn't happen right away because he didn't have the most exciting fights with the best people. He had a lot of snoozers. He had a lot of boring fucking fights. But then he started, amassing those knockouts. He started having this dominating, presence in the ring. And up until Tyson Fury, everybody was drinking the Deontay Wilder Kool-Aid. We had said he has arrived. We have the heavyweight. We have the American heavyweight that we've been wanting for a long fucking time that we haven't had for 20 years, for 20 plus years. Because the minute that the Klitschko's took over, it wasn't the American heavyweight boxing scene anymore. Right. So now that we had Deontay Wilder, who was untested and unproven when he first won the WBC belt and had a string of boring fights, but then started getting that knockout percentage up, which everybody loves, and started having these dominating, and then he's just come up against this mountain of unpredictability in the form of Tyson Fury, and that's all that happened, folks. Don't read more into it than there actually is. This is starting off as a schoolhouse. Don't make it a temple. You know what I mean? Don't make more of it than it actually is. The mythology is so enormous and not good that the truth is so simple. It was Tyson Fury's day. That's it. That's it. Leave it at that. Stop building a temple and get your ass back to school. Fuck.
You think along those same lines, and I thought about this, that you see on social media that a lot of people have kind of turned their backs on Wilder, which
I haven't. No, right. I haven't at all. In fact, I'm so excited for the trilogy. I'm glad that he's already called out his rematch clause, that he's already enacted it. I'm excited.
Well, what I was going to say is that, a lot of people have come out and said, oh, well, Wilder, he got exposed. And I thought about that.
He did get exposed. They're right about that. He did. He did get exposed. But it doesn't necessarily mean that he got exposed for the remainder of his motherfucking career.
Well, here's what I say, Jeff. Here's what I say. I thought about the word, and I thought about I was reading about what people were saying online about it. No, he got exposed. He got exposed. I'm like, well, hold on a second. Let's backtrack this for a second. Mm-hmm. Like exposed. All right. When has anyone ever accused Deontay Wilder of being this technical phenom? I can't ever remember.
I can't recall anybody saying that.
When has anyone ever accused him of being this, defensive master like a Mayweather or this or that?
He's never been put in that position. So how could you say he's a defensive fighter? The only time that he was even remotely put in that position was with Ortiz.
Right. My point is that he's a fucking heavy hitter. That's what he is. He's a heavy hitter, right? I don't like the term one-trick pony, but you know what? He was damn fucking good at his one trick. He's damn good at it, right? No one's ever accused of him being like a technical master. So like when people say, well, he's exposed, I'm like, well, wait a minute. His one trick didn't work this fight and he lost. Exposed? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe yeah. Now that you put it that way, you're right. It's the wrong word usage.
Now, do I think that he put his best performance out? I don't. It didn't look like it. But
no. What do you mean didn't look it? It wasn't. It wasn't his best part. He didn't get the opportunity to it. He didn't. He didn't have the opportunity. Tyson was one step ahead of him.
He was just on him, and he got hurt early, and that's really all there. He got hurt early, and it was all downhill afterwards. And I think
you can't put, if it's a one-sided fight, then which it absolutely 100% was.
Yeah.
And you can't really, you can't really look at it in the same perspective as a 12-round finisher to where somebody had maybe 50% of the way and the other person had one person had 60% of the way and one person had 40% of the way. You can't look at it that way. It was a dominating one-sided round that was stopped for the protection of the fighter via his own corner.
Right.
So yeah, you're right. Exposed is a wrong. I agree. I'm now, folks. We're known for having our differences and not being, crazy sycophantic yes men with each other. But I'm going to give you credit, Josh. That was well thought out and that was well spoken. I still hate you, but it was.
Everybody take note of that. I think that's only twice in the 4-episode history that he's agreed with me. So take note of that. I'm really trying to not break that habit. I really have to go with my gut and say that I am right and you are wrong. I have to, but I'll give you credit where credit is due, Joshua. Good man. Good point. Well, I appreciate that. No, I'm going to disagree with you. I don't want to see the trilogy, Jeff. And I'm going to tell you why.
Why?
Because I thought Fury won the first fight hands down. He definitely won the second fight. I don't see – I just can't see – I don't know what else Wilder could offer him. Maybe he'll have a better showing in the third fight. I'm not saying that.
Obviously, you're not a big heavyweight boxing fan.
Absolutely, I am.
Well, then you need to know that the best heavyweight boxing has taken place in trilogies. It has. We've seen the best heavyweight fights in the history of heavyweight boxing in trilogies, and I just think it's something that needs to be run through. It needs to be run through because I need to see Deontay Wilder at a better stage, and I think I will. I think Deontay is absolutely going to go back to the drawing board. I think he's going to work harder than he ever has. He knows now, aside from all of his bullshit excuses, which we're absolutely seeing through, that he is going to get back to the grindstone. I mean, he's immediately called on his rematch. So I think a fire is going to be lit like no one else, and we may see a different Deontay Wilder step into the ring for the third time. And that's why I always like the trilogies. There's nothing to prove on either man's side. You're absolutely right. But it's not the proving that I'm looking for. I like to see reinventions. I like to see a reinvention of a fighter. I like to see a fighter rediscover the love that maybe was a little complacent. Because sometimes when it's the old saying, it's lonely at the top. So maybe there might have been some championship complacency that he was kind of working through unbeknownst to him. And then, hey, after, a shocking, one-sided defeat, which is a hard pill to swallow, especially for somebody at that fucking level. Yeah. I get to see kind of a reinvention. And that's what I want to see. I want to see if this person is capable of that reinvention and he comes back a different fighter than when we ever anticipated and gives us a thrilling trilogy. And that's what I want. So fuck fighters having to prove anything. I want to see the reinvention. I want to see somebody come back stronger and better.
Jeff, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I
want to be. I want to be right on that. I really, really do. I mean, I really want to give Deontay Wilder the benefit of the doubt. I really do. I really, really do. I want to see him come back the way that I anticipate him to come back, and I anticipate him to not only push the pace but have a ferocity that he hasn't had in a long friggin' time. And hopefully, he will leave the 50-pound clusterfuck costume at home. I appreciate the walkout, dude, but if you're going to make an excuse that 40 pounds cost you the heavyweight fucking title, dude, gay. Really gay.
You know what else it made me think of? You remember the Triple H versus Sting WrestleMania? And when H came out and he had like the skulls. You remember that?
Yep.
And he had it had to have been like 40 or 50 pounds of fucking metal skulls hanging off of him.
Yep.
It made me think of that.
You want to go ahead and talk? I can take you one step further. I can take you one step motherfucking further. The first fight, the first match that he had with the Undertaker with Taker at WrestleMania. The first match, he comes out of this huge fucking skull, and he gets second-degree dry ice burns.
Yeah, I remember that.
He gets second-degree, motherfucking second-degree. I mean, it's not third degree, but second degree, you still hear that shit.
Yeah.
And he goes out there, no fucking excuses, with second-degree burns all over his back and his torso, and still gives us a scintillating match and makes no fucking excuses about it. He made mention of the burns, but he just made the mention of them in passing. He didn't make any excuses or anything that, his performance lacked because he had second-degree burns. Dude, he didn't even flinch.
Yeah.
So don't give me that bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
It's true. It's true. Look at back. It's true. Look at back.
Yeah, 100%. Where was I at, Jeff? Okay.
I know. I am very good at derailing your train of thought.
Okay, so back on track.
Back on track.
Fury and Wilder. I guess really just to kind of wrap things up. I just, I hope you're right. I hope he can come back. I hope he gets the rematch.
No. He is getgetting the rematch. It's not a question of hopes. He is. He's enacted his clause. He has a rematch clause.
Like guaranteed. He's going to get it.
Yes. It's in the contract. He has a clause, and he enacted his rematch clause. It's already in the news. When it will happen, I'm not sure. I mean, it'll probably happen later in the year, But no, he's already called out his clause. So we are going to see a trilogy.
So here's what I bet. Okay, so we see the trilogy. We'll see again. I don't think anything is going to be that much different. He might come out better than the last one, but I don't think it's going to be that much different. I think Fury's still going to win. He's going to dominate. And then I think Fury probably goes on to finally face Anthony Joshua,
which is what everybody wants. That's the fight we all want to see. We want to see, Joshua, and then Joshua is the last holder of the belts that we're looking to make the overall unified, undisputed, lineal heavyweight champion of the world. If Tyson Fury picks up those belts on top of what he has, that's it. That's it, man. He got more bling bling than Flava Flav.
I'm guessing I would guess he probably retires after he beats Anthony Joshua.
I'm gonna tell you, it'd be the smart move to do. It'd be the smart move. Like wrestlers and boxers say, it's always good to go out on your back.
Yeah. It's
always good to go out on your back or on your shield, so to speak. And that's how I remember that's what Deontay said. He said, I wish I had gone out on my shield, rather than having somebody throw in the towel. And of course, nobody wants the fight stopped by their corner of all. But I do understand that. And, I still think that I call foul on the conspiracy that he was coaxed or influenced in that right direction. Jesus Christ, you're a fucking adult. And the only thing that you should be relying on is your fighter. You should be worrying about your fighter and the welfare of your fighter. If you are being influenced by the other fighter's corner or other shit, then you need to get the fuck out of there, because obviously you're not having the best relationship with your fighter. Because as far as I'm concerned, that's the only person that matters when you're out there. Fuck the rest of the world. Your fighter should be the only person that you rely on and that you keep any kind of attention span on. So fuck that outside influence. Like I said, excuses. Excuses are like assholes. Everyone's got one.
And on that note, I think we can wrap up the Fury versus Wilder. Let's roll right into BKFC 10.
Yeah, boy, man, that was fun.
Did you happen to catch that, Jeff?
Did I happen to catch it? Are you kidding? I had the best seat in the motherfucking house, live on pay-per-view, bitches. Build up to the fight was great. The press conference went very well. The weigh-ins was very well attended. And we had a shit ton of celebrities in the house over there at the Broward Convention Center over there in Fort Lauderdale. It was a great time, man. I anticipated BKFC 10 to bring big things, and it did. It's just, it's growing more and more with every event. I mean, just when you think that, a fight card can't get any better, I know that that's a cliche, and so many people say it can't get any better. It actually, no, it does. It does.
Every time.
We get these great anticipated matchups. We really do.
I'm going to start, and I've already talked about this at great length, so I don't want to go too deep into this topic.
That's fine.
But I do want to talk about Reggie Burnett Jr. and Matt Murphy, and I did a video about this, and I interviewed Reggie the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And talked about how the fight wasn't televised and how there was you couldn't see it unless you were there in attendance. And
well, I know what happened there, but I'm not going to talk about it because it's above my pay grade, and it's
fair enough. Yeah,
it's none of my business.
Yeah, fair enough. And I get that there was some other stuff behind the scenes, and Reggie kind of said the same thing, that he, there was a lot he couldn't say, but it was still disappointing. And,
it was.
It was just strange because at the time, I didn't know any of it. The only thing we knew was, hell, Reggie just fought. He just fought Bedford for the title, and now he's curtain jerking the show. It didn't make any sense to me, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? I mean, now I guess I kind of understand. I know there was behind the scenes stuff, and like I said,
He took it. He took it though. He took it.
He took it very well.
He took it very well. He was a consummate professional. He went in there and did his job, and he got he got a TKO stoppage in the second round.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Maybe it's just me, and the last thing I'm going to talk is ill will about another fighter, because that fighter is doing a shitload more than I ever will, and that's putting their ass on the line. But it just, from what I saw, it just didn't seem that Matt Murphy wanted to be there that night.
Well,
I didn't get that. I didn't get that read from him on this particular fight. I really didn't. And if I'm speaking out of tune, Matt, if you happen to tune this, dude, my apologies on that, but that's just what I saw. And if I'm wrong, call me out on it, bro. I have no problem with that. I choose my words soft and sweet because sometimes I'm forced to eat them. So that's fine. But I'm just saying what I saw ringside there just didn't seem like he wanted to have a dog in this fight. And Reggie just had a dominating performance, a completely dominating performance.
And I'll just add this too. You weren't the only person to say that to me, but again, no hate on Matt Murphy. I heard that from a couple different people, but
and that's just what I saw. I mean, I'm just testifying to what I saw.
Sure. Yeah. Not harping on that. And I guess we'll just kind of move right along. Travis Thompson, Josh Boudreaux.
Travis really needed this win.
Yeah.
It was really essential for Travis, because Travis has been so instrumental on pushing the bare knuckle brand. If there's one fighter that is absolutely black and yellow through and through when it comes to the bare knuckle brand, Travis Thompson. And not only that, Travis Thompson's also starting to step up his dress game, man. He came in a nice checkered suit, a nice checkered suit this time through, looking real slick, rocking the beard. He's got his beard all nice and trim. There's some beard oil in there. He's definitely looking the part, and he's taking more of a notice of himself and taking more stock of himself, not only in the ring, but out of the ring. And that's the kind of fighters that we want. That's who we want representing bare knuckle.
I know you hate. I agree with you 100%. I really do.
Shit, there we go again.
I know it.
Go again.
But
what the fuck?
I know, and I've watched Travis since the first one, and I've gotten the privilege to talk to him a bunch of times, and really gotten to know him and stuff like that. And I'll tell you what, he is. When I say genuine, real deal, what you see is what you get.
Oh, there ain't nothing fake about him. There ain't not a goddamn thing, man. That guy is as brass tacks as it gets. What you see is what you get. I'm wearing my heart on my sleeves, and I am going out there, and I'm going to give my best every time. And the thing about it is he has given us his best. And he was just better than Josh Boudreaux. He was just better that day. It was a decisive victory, 15 seconds, into round number 2, TKO on his end. We were really moving fast. We were moving crazy fast. In fact, actually up until about fights 1 through 6, nothing got outside of the third round. Nothing got outside of the second round.
Yeah, but that's not that unusual. I think 8.
No, it's pretty that we had almost every victory in the first round.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, 8 every fight was a stoppage.
I think so. I'd have to check it again, because we're already double digits into this one. But Travis did a fantastic job, and I was very, very proud of him. He was rocking some new colors too, because he usually rocks the black, gold, and purple.
Yes.
And he came out with some really, really nice new colors, new tracksuits, and all that good stuff, man. I'm like, he's taking stock of himself, and I want to commend him. I want to take time on this. Like I said, I'm just proud of him. I want to take this moment on Loudmouth Fisticuffs and say, well done, animal, well done, brother.
100%, man, 100%. Francesco Ricci.
It's actually pronounced Ricky.
Francesco Ricky defeated Fred Pierce via TKO in round 1. Interesting fight. He came in, got the stoppage. Fred Pierce. I think Fred Pierce is going to be another one of those, bare knuckle cowboy. I think he's going to be one of those. He's just hardcore company guy. I talked to him a couple times now, and let me tell you what, he's kind of another one. He's the nicest guy. You talk to him for more than a couple minutes, like he's got that Southern charm, and he's just.
I love Fred. I love Fred, but if I had anything after the fights that I've seen, I need Fred to work a little bit more on his defense. There were times that I did not see him protecting himself the way that he should have been when he got in trouble. Now, I think as far as what he throws is fine. I don't have an issue with the bombs that he throws, but I think that he needs to work just a little bit more on his defense, because when he gets in trouble, I mean, it seems to be really fast pace to the end on what happens there, and that's just my only thing. I mean, that's what I see, but I have got nothing but massive respect for Fred Pierce. He's, like I said, another company guy. He's another guy who loves the brand, who respects the brand. He died for the brand. I mean, absolutely know that. I mean, he's definitely in the right place. It's just, I really think if he works on his defensive game a little bit more and ties that in with those big bombs he throws, man, he's going to be a force.
To your point, I'm pulling up his fight history on Knucklepedia. Could have come by insiders.com.
Nice plug.
So while it hasn't gone his way, since he's kind of switched to bare knuckle, but to your point, like you were saying, his defense, he's one of those guys that he goes in hard, and whether he's going to lose, he's going to win. He's going to go hard. He's going to go fast.
Which is what we want. That's the pace that we want.
Right. And he fought at the first, actually the WBKFF, the only.
But if you also remember, he puts his head down a little bit too much when he throws.
Yeah, he does put his head down. Yeah.
He puts his head down a little bit, and I think sometimes he's not necessarily seeing where he's throwing those shots. And I think that he needs to tuck that chin a little bit, tuck that chin a little bit in there and see where he's throwing some of those shots, because I saw when he was getting a little bit of trouble, he put that head down, just started throwing a few hooks and haymakers, and they weren't connecting the way that they would have if his head was up. Yeah. And these, like I said, I am not running him into the ground. This is 100% constructive criticism.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
I want to see Fred Pierce succeed very, very much. I am a fan of Fred Pierce. These are just things that I just happen to see in his couple of outings with bare knuckle, and I think that if he irons that down, and I think Dave definitely sees that he's a company man too, and he's a guy. But the problem with it is that you got to get in that win column, otherwise you're not going to be able to prove what you want to prove, and you want to prove that you belong. Well, then we need a W, man. We need a W in order to get that going. And Fred, I know you got it in you.
Yeah.
I know I've seen it.
Yeah.
But we got to get this next one, man. We got to get that W. We got to get that in motion, brother. I'm only saying this because I care about you. I do. If I didn't care about you, I wouldn't give a fuck what happens with you one way or another. But I do. I've been a fan of the bare knuckle cowboy since day one, and I want to see you succeed. But just iron that down. Get your head back and get your head in that game. Defend yourself better, man. Keep your head up when you throw those punches. And I'm telling you, that W is going to come your way, and you're going to get that gravy train with biscuit wheels, brother.
He definitely has the right attitude.
And I think so.
And what's funny is I think attitude is kind of the one thing that you can't really train somebody on, right? Either they have it,
you have it or you don't.
You have it or you don't, and you could have all the fucking talent in the world, all the raw skills in the world.
But if you don't have the right attitude, it's always the cog that doesn't fit. It's like a square peg in a round hole. It's not going to fit right.
Yeah, he's got the right attitude, man. Like you said, I see it, and I love the whole bare knuckle cowboy thing. Like I love,
and he sells it well. He just has to iron out.
Yes.
Finite details. And they're finite in comparison. Iron out those details. the bare knuckle cowboy man will be packing a 6-shooter, ready to ride off into the motherfucking sunset.
100%. 100%.
Now the next fight, let's go ahead and let's move on to this fight that I was actually hoping that was going to be a gargantuan fight, and I'm talking about Lorenzo Hunt and Gustavo Trujillo, and unfortunately it was stopped for a vicious lip tear. I mean, it wasn't anything to the tune of Alistair Overeem, but very, very little was. Very little ever has. That was ghastly. That was just horrifying. And I know Lorenzo's mindset. He was so pissed off, man. He could have easily gone through the rest of the fight with that no problem.
Let me ask you something, Jeff, because maybe it was something that was communicated, or not communicated through like the television audience, because I watched it on Fight TV.
Mm-hmm.
So that stoppage. So here's what I saw. Here's what we saw was, he got rocked, which it was the first shot Trujillo actually connected with.
Yep. Knocked
him down. He staggered up. And what I saw was when he got up and the ref was like, "Are you okay? You okay?" Then he was kind of like fell into the ref a little bit, right? And then the ref called it. Did he call it? Did the ref call it because of, you're saying specifically because of the lip?
Well, I think that was a contributing factor. I think that was a major contributing factor, but the way he fell in didn't help his cause.
Yeah.
And I think we're talking about a difference of like a half a second or 1 second before he would have gotten his bearings back up. And I think it was a victim of bad timing, because I think another second or two, dude, he would have stood up and been fine.
He should have took the full count. Or I mean,
yeah, I think so. Sometimes you got to take the 8. Take the 8. Get your bearings back up. Get your ass back up on 8. Get those gloves. Get those. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold the phone. Did I say gloves? Wow. Major faux pas. Oh, faux pas up the ass. I'm not going to say that again. Ain't no motherfucking gloves and bare knuckle. Sorry, Dave. Sorry, everybody out there who's listening. Jesus Christ, man. I swear. Call it a touch of senility, okay? Ain't no motherfucking gloves and bare knuckle.
No gloves. No gloves, Jeff.
All right.
No, I was just going to say, man, I think, yeah, if you notice, too, it seems to be a veteran move, in traditional boxing.
Take the count.
Just take the count. Like, why? Even if you're not that hurt, fucking take it. Take the count.
Get your equilibrium back. I know it's only a few seconds, but those few seconds could be critical in whether the fight continues or whether the fight is stopped. So take those extra few seconds, take the 8 count, get your ass back up, and I think that would have made a deciding factor. Now the doctor did not. Now they did stop it. Like I said, they did end up stopping it because it was a bad cut. It really was. And it definitely could have progressed even worse. And maybe even if they had gotten out of the round, it would have even stopped, because, it may have even stopped it once the round progressed, because the doctor may have come up, take a look into that, and actually thrown out the fight, before the beginning of the second round. So that very well could have been a possibility. But I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And here we are agreeing. Jesus, we got to get out of habit of this, man. This is Loudmouth Fisticuffs.
Is it a full moon? Is it a full moon tonight?
No. I looked up, man. No. It's a toenail moon.
Oh, okay.
It looked like a big old fucking toenail in the sky. And everything. That's what it looks like right now. But no, I know the fur and fangs would sprout if it was the fucking full moon. That's for damn sure. But no, there could have been a possibility of a doctor stoppage if the round had completed. But I definitely agree that he should have taken the 8 count, because that's a veteran move right there. And I think in hindsight, he learned something about that too.
I guess it's a pride thing, right? You get knocked down and you're in a hurry. You want to get.
Don't let your pride, dude. Don't let your pride take over in a fight. Yeah. It isn't, dude. It isn't worth it. It isn't worth it, because pride. Unfortunately, your pride makes terrible decisions.
Yeah.
Let your brain go to work, brother. Even if it's rocked a little. And if your brain is rocked, then let your heart go. I understand that, but don't let pride be a determining factor in that, because pride could end up fucking you up and saying, oops, I did it again.
And I knew one of these guys was going to go to sleep. It was just a matter of who touched who first. I mean, I don't think.
They're both beasts, and they both have, just weapons of mass destruction. But I'm going to be honest with you, as much as I love Lorenzo Hunt, I was leaning more towards Gustavo on this one, because I remember how impressive his first showing was. And I figured that we were going to see that same fighter push that incredible pace. And I think we have another star that's ready to be born in Gustavo Trujillo. I mean, he's the Cuban assassin, man. He's a badass. But then again, so is Lorenzo. So if they decide to run that back, I'd love to see it.
Which, by the way, I just updated the BKFC stats on the Knucklepedia. Plug number 2 or 3, whatever the hell it is.
Oh, no. Knucklepedia is okay, because that benefits us all.
That's true. That's true. So under where the hell it was. Okay. So Gustavo has made himself into the top 5 fastest knockouts of BKFC history, clocking in at 35 seconds. That's his first fight. That was back in October. So he is now number 4. Sam Shoemaker at 18 seconds. Harris Stevenson at 26 seconds. Shannon Rich also at 26 seconds. That was back from BKFC.
Back in Cancun.
And then, Bobby Gunn at 41 seconds. So that rounds out.
And Bobby Gunn got a lot of crap for the first one, because a lot of people were claiming basically Sonny Liston phantom punches and shit like that. But you also have to understand that Bobby Gunn was a very different bare knuckle fighter, that he would actually go after pressure points and, areas of the body that a lot of people don't understand, that actual bare knuckle fighters focus on. And they hit at different places. Like, you'll see him hitting like on the forearm, or like under the armpit, in very different, on the shoulder, over by the clavicle and the weird freaking places. But he dropped him with perfectly timed. If you watch the fight back, he dropped him with perfectly good liver shots. And if people know anything about the liver shot, if anybody knows about a liver shot, that right there is a human off button.
Yeah,
that turns you the fuck off. You get hit hard in the liver the right night, good night. You're down. Your whole body shuts down. All right, now it's time. Come on. We can't derail this train, because now we're getting to, my opinion, one of the best fights of the night. It didn't get fight of the night, but in my opinion, it was definitely one of the most exciting moments of the night. And that's when we saw Dat Win become a motherfucking bare knuckle star. Not only with a scintillating performance. He just brutal, hardcore. I loved it. And we definitely got a great highlight reel shot out of the blood splattering across the camera lens, which I certainly loved. But oh my God, he came out in a full friggin' Raiden style Mortal Kombat, and came out to Mortal Kombat. I'm like, oh my God, dude, that's legend. That's legend, because that song is 25 years old this year, and I still mark out to it every time I hear it.
It's a great song. I was talking about Mortal Kombat the other day. We were talking about
it was a terrible movie. I mean, it was a terrible fucking movie.
As a kid, though, I fucking loved the movie.
Oh no. Yeah. It spoke to you as a kid. And but then again, it's amazing what speaks to you as a kid, and then when you look back as an adult, you're like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah, that's true.
Everything, but that's just the way it was. But that song still gets your blood pumping, even 25 years later after you heard it for the first friggin' time. So, I mean, I loved it. But he came in there against a very capable Abdiel Velasquez. Abdiel is a fucking warrior himself. But wow, was that one-sided. Wow. I mean, this is a boxer. This is a professional boxer with a record of 20-3 who has completely stepped out of the light of professional boxing and immersed himself in bare knuckle and has taken to it like a fish to water. He is not a boxer who comes to bare knuckle and gets on his bike.
Well, let's also, absolutely, it was one-sided, but let's give Abby credit where credit's due. First guy to ever knock down. He was the first guy to ever knock down that.
That's true. That's true.
First guy
ever to knock him down. You're right. You're out.
But in his boxing history, kickboxing history,
yeah, he'd never been knocked down.
Even been knocked.
He's never been knocked. No, Dat win is a feather in his, and that's an incredible feathers in cap. And even Dat was incredibly complimentary of that. He was saying he knocked me down.
Yeah,
he did, and it's never happened before.
Yeah,
but the brutality in that,
I loved it. I loved it, Jeff. I was a little afraid for a second because I remember when he got knocked down and he turned over, I saw a huge amount of blood coming out of his mouth, and I saw a leg shake. Yeah,
and that scares me. But unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast, and that is a possibility in this game. We never said that this wasn't brutal. We're just saying it's not barbaric.
Yeah,
that's what we're saying. But we're not saying that it isn't brutal. We've never ever said that it is not brutal, because it absolutely is. But we got an immediate glimpse into the future after that fight finished, and we saw a very well dressed and very hungry BKFC champ in the form of Brutal Johnny Bedford step into the ring. Now, nobody got on the mic, but there was the idea that pretty soon we could be seeing Dat win against Johnny Bedford. And oh my God, you want to see a fight where there's just unhinged brutality? That's it.
Oh, talk about that for a second, Jeff, because again, the viewers at home, we never saw that part. It cut away to something else.
It did. Oh, it did. Okay. Well, I apologize about speaking on time, but yes. He was. We did see them taking a picture together, and we're like, oh man, is that what we could see in the possible immediate future?
I'm going to say this, Jeff, and I love. Let me make sure I'm 100% clear.
Okay.
I absolutely want to see that fight, Bedford and Dat. But I don't think that as impressive as he was against Abby, okay, as impressive as he was, not taking anything away, I think there's one guy he still needs to face before he gets a shot at the champ.
Sing it. Who? Are you talking about Reggie?
Reggie. I think.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
That fight needs to happen first, and then whoever wins that is the bona fide
number one contender for that. I think that's fair. I think that's a very fair assessment. I mean, Dat's only had 2 fights, so it might be a little premature to throw an opportunity at them. And the idea behind them coming together would be great because, number one, if Dat wins, that's 3-0 against 3 very capable and recognized bare knuckle fighters, Travis Thompson, Abdiel Velasquez, and now Reggie Burnett. So obviously that would put him into immediate number 1 contendership status. And if Reggie happens to edge him out, then we get to see the rematch that we've all wanted to see.
Yeah.
So yes. God damn it. I am sick of agreeing with you on this one. I am not having a good time. I'm not having a good time here.
And on another note too, and I'll take this while you recompose yourself. I'll say this too. I think Bedford, because Bedford's talking about, he wants to fight Artem too. He's talking about going to the 45-4 fight. Let him. Yeah, let him. Let him go and have that fight. Let Reggie and Dat have that fight, and then by the time everybody is ready to come together,
once the smoke is cleared,
he can come back down. Maybe, let's say timeline wise, I'm just spitballing some numbers here. Maybe let's say Dat and Reggie happens June, July. July card would probably be pretty good, right? The Hall of Fame. That's when the Hall of Fame.
I am so excited about that one. That's going to be a fun one because not only are we probably going to have a stellar show, but we get to segue right into the 2020 Bare Knuckle Hall of Fame induction ceremony over there in beautiful Belfast, New York. And I'm going to be honest with you, Josh. I really hope that you can make it this year.
I will say this. I am 90% positive that's already being.
This is going to be a different animal than it was last year. because of all the attention that bare knuckle fighting has gotten so far. I think this year it's just going to be even bigger. And this tiny little town is getting this recognition because the fact the Hall of Fame is centered in this very, very, very small little sliver of Americana that is known as Belfast, New York. So it's going to blow up.
And maybe Scott Burt can correct me, but I believe the ceremony is on site wherever the show is. I don't think it's going to be in Belfast.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't gone into detail on logistics as of yet.
I believe it. Matter of fact, I'm actually, I think I'm pretty sure. I think it's the morning of the show. I think it's that Saturday morning, and wherever it starts with an S, the name of the city that it's going to be in. Forgive me.
Oh, Seneca.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Seneca. I think it's going to be the morning of.
No, I think you're correct on that. Now that I actually am putting my brain to work, I actually think I heard something along that line. Yes. Yeah.
I think it's but no, I'm fairly certain that we'll Combat Insiders will definitely be there. So,
but that still doesn't give you an excuse not to go check out Belfast. I mean, if you must, you can hop in the back of my rental car. Shit.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, Jeff. Let's do like a odd couple. We can tape it. We can record it. We'll do an odd.
You're really thinking too much about this. I just said one thing, and you're already planning shit out, man. Don't jump the gun, man. You know.
So wait.
Premature trip ejaculation.
Hey, who's Jack Lemmon and who's Walter Matthau in this situation?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I'm much better spoken than you, so I would definitely be Jack Lemmon.
No, see, I don't know, because you're a little grumpier than I am. You'd have to be Matthau. You're a little more grumpier by nature.
Hold on, let me see if I can do the grumpy old man. Morning, dickhead. You're supposed to say hello, moron.
Moron putz. Morning putz. Yeah.
Shingles, schmingles. When I had my ulcer, I was farting razor blades.
that was the pharmacy scene when they were like going back and forth.
Pain. Yeah. He wants to talk about pain. I had a gallstone the size of a baseball. Oh, gallstone. Gallstones are for pussies.
Gallstones are for pussies. Yeah, I remember that.
And I remember when that was said, there was that lady shopping next to her, and she's like, "What?
Huh? What?"
Oh man, I grew up with the Grumpy Old Men series, man, and I'm going to tell you the best thing about those movies. I love Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau, but fucking Burgess Meredith made all of those fucking movies fun, man. Oh, looks like Chuck's taking the skin boat to Tuna Town. Looks like Chuck's a tomcat on the prowl. Meow.
Hey, oh man, the daughter. He said, "What do I do? She ate a quarter." Well,
I tell you, if she shits out 2 dimes and a nickel, then you can start worrying.
Crapped out 2 dimes and a nickel, then you can worry. What a great movie.
Great movie series. They were both great. That's the good thing. They were both great. Grumpy Old Men and Grumpy Old Men. I thought they were both great, man, because they followed the same kind of storyline and didn't add too much to it. It was just simple, wonderful humor between 2 guys who loved each other and hated each other. I loved it.
I get back on track again. Uli Diaz defeats Brian Maxwell.
Yuli Diaz.
Uli Diaz.
Yes, it is not Uli. It is Yuli. It is pronounced Yuli Diaz. Because it is Ulysses. So Yuli, not Uli. Do not fuck with an announcer when it comes to pronunciations. We've been through this before.
I apologize. Yuli.
I don't want your fucking apology. Just recognize.
I'm not apologizing to you. I'm apologizing to Yuli. Okay.
All right. Fair enough, asshole. Okay.
But this was another fight that, I really don't want to say this. It was an interesting fight. We hadn't seen Yuli and bare knuckle before, so we weren't quite sure what we were going to expect. But
he took to it.
And he took to it like a fish out of water.
No, fish to water.
I'm sorry.
If you were a fish out of water, be flopping the fuck around, not knowing what the fuck to do.
I quit. Yeah.
Wow, is he actually getting up? Ladies and gentlemen, oh my God, I actually think that I chased Joshua the fuck off. Finally, now we can have a show that people want to listen to.
I kind of feel for Brian Maxwell. I mean, the kid's got a heart of gold. He really does. He's got a heart of gold and the heart of a champ, man. But he got hurt, and you could tell he got hurt.
I hate to say this, he got outmatched. He did.
He's got a heart of gold. He'll fight anybody, but man, oh man,
he just got outmatched because you have to remember Yuli is a veteran boxer.
Yeah,
he is a veteran. He is a veteran boxer. He's a longtime boxer. He's basically one of Miami's favorite sons when it comes to combat sports. And he's another guy kind of like Dat who just took to it like a fish to water, and he didn't back up a step. He was all about pushing the pace. And Brian Maxwell is a warrior. Brian Maxwell is an absolute warrior. I just think that he was outmatched on this, and that can happen. Have we seen the last of Brian Maxwell? Absolutely not.
No,
absolutely not. But this was a highly anticipated debut, because we always want to see how a boxer is going to take to bare knuckle. And we have boxer number 2 who has not only surprised us all, but has taken to bare knuckle the way that we want to see fighters take to bare knuckle when they're looking at it from the outside in. And that's what we saw. And that's what we saw in Yuli Diaz. And I was happy to see that. I kind of had a call on that. I had been talking to Brian periodically through that, and I told him, I said, you got a hell of an opponent here, because you've got a first-time bare-knuckle guy coming in with a stellar boxing record.
Yeah,
and he's also a current national boxing champion. He's a cruiserweight champion. He's a current cruiserweight champion. So this is somebody who has been battle-tested and proven. First time out with bare knuckle, you never know how that's going to go. But in this sense, it couldn't have gone better for him. And he got the W in his hometown. Well, close to his hometown. Fort Lauderdale isn't too far from Miami.
Yeah, what more can you ask for, man?
Dude, it was great. And then we go to the next one, which was Elvin Brito against another debuter that I was very excited to see, because this is a fighter who I've announced a lot of fights with overseas, in Luis Palomino, the Baboon. I've announced at least 3 or 4 of his fights in ACA overseas. And, he came in with a stellar MMA record. And another guy is just like, whoa, pushing that pace. And Elvin Brito's no fucking pushover.
I think Palomino he's going to be a killer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. A killer.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But like I said, it wasn't a pushover. It was our first decision of the evening. It went the full 5 rounds. It was a unanimous decision, but it wasn't it wasn't a murder. It wasn't a slaughter. It was not a slaughter. Elvin gave him a good fight.
Yeah.
Elvin gave him a good fight, but Luis was just a step ahead. He wanted this. He really wanted this. He was excited for the opportunity. I saw that from him in the press conference. I certainly saw that from him in the weigh-in. So I just saw a hunger. I saw a hunger, and I also saw somebody who sees bare knuckle for what it is: a new venture, a great opportunity, and a fresh start, and a real fresh start for a lot of fighters, which is what I think that's what this is offering. It's a fresh start to people who have been thought to have been done in their respected combat fields. And, and people are saying, oh, they're trying to resurrect a career. I'm like, what? No, they're not. It's not about resurrecting. It's a reinvention. It's becoming a star in a different form. That's all it is. It's not this. They're not trying to resurrect anything. If they were trying to resurrect, they'd still be in MMA. That's what resurrection means, because you're talking about resurrection in its proper form. Well, you're resurrecting in MMA. So if he went back to MMA, if he had been thought, then yes, that would be more of a kind of like a resurrection to MMA, but that's not what that is at all. It's just trying something new, and he had a great first outing. I think he had a great first outing. What do you think?
Well, like I said, I think Palomino, I think it's going to be something special to watch.
I think so.
Just like you said, seeing his first outing, he really took to it. Aggressive. His style is perfect.
It really is.
It's what, and we talked about this a couple times before, is that's what Dave wants. That's what Dave Feldman looks for. He looks for somebody who is aggressive. He's not afraid to get in there and, cliche, toe the line. That's what he's looking for. And
that is all that Dave Feldman has ever wanted out of the fighters.
Yeah.
He does not want you to think about it. He wants you to get out there and do it. He wants you to get your hands dirty. Your gloves are off for a reason. They're off for a reason. For you to get dirty. We don't want scientific fights. We want dirty. We want knockdown, drag out, fists in your face, call home to your mama and let you know that you're going to be late for dinner. That's what we want. And I'm going to tell you, the ones who have delivered are the ones who are going to be the stars. They're going to be the ones that are going to be really just, they are. I mean, you've seen the ones that have pushed the pace as opposed to the ones who play the defensive side and decide to get on their bike.
Yeah.
They're not going to succeed in this. It's too fast paced and too brutal for an overall defensive. Like somebody like Floyd Mayweather. If Floyd Mayweather would not do well in bare knuckle with his defensive style fighting,
it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work, and it'd be boring.
Yeah, because that Philly shell that he does a lot. It's with the gloves he can protect a lot of those shots. It absorbs them, but
that's right.
Just like we were talking about with Bobby Gunn. Somebody punches you in the shoulder, it's not gonna slide off.
Nope.
You're gonna feel
every little bit of it. Exactly right. And you also have to pick, as you know, when those gloves come off, you have to pick your shots. You can't just throw shit away. You have to be careful on what you choose to throw, because you could throw away a shot and that could be the shot that breaks your fucking hand.
Yeah.
And then you're 50% a fighter. You don't want to be a dog in a 50% fight. Ain't no way that you want to be a dog in a 50% fight. And chances are, if you broke your hand, they're probably going to stop the fight on top of that too, because right. Exactly. But Luis did good, and I was really impressed. But now, oh man, co-main event time: Jim Allers and Caleb Harris, dude.
But before we get to that, I just for those people who, if you're listening to this and you haven't heard us talk about this for the last two shows, the Palomino versus El Vimbrito fight was the first fight in the 155-pound title tournament. Oh,
excuse me. Yes, you're absolutely right. There was the quarterfinal fight in the 155-pound tournament. That is correct.
It's a quarterfinal fight. Just won it just for people, again, who didn't know. Maybe this is your first time listening to us. Maybe you've never seen bare knuckle before. If not, and if you are that person never seen bare knuckle before, welcome to the show.
Dude, welcome to the future of combat sports. Seriously,
future of combat. That's the perfect segue to that. The future of combat sports, 110%. There's plenty of free fights, right? Just go to the BKFC YouTube page, and that's not even a plug for them. There's a lot of free fights that they've put on there that you can go on there and partake in. I tell you what, Beltran Lopez. You want to start off somewhere really good. Go watch the first
instant classic
fight.
Instant classic.
If you don't fall in love with bare knuckle watching that fight,
something's wrong.
You don't have a fucking pulse, and you're not a combat sports fan. And shame on you.
Yeah. That was a war of attrition. That was a war. Honestly, yeah. If you call yourself a combat sports fan and you find a bunch of fatal flaws in that particular outing, like I said, you're not a true combat sports fan. Something's the fuck wrong with you. Get your pulse checked. Go to your doctor. Get put on, an iron supplement so you can get a little fucking balls in your blood. Definitely get that done for you. But no, for those of you who are new to it, welcome. We're happy to have you here, and we're happy to have you paying attention to the most exciting, not only the future of that, but it's also, in my opinion, the most exciting combat sport on the planet now. It is. Seriously, there's a feeling that you get from bare knuckle that you don't get from anywhere else, anywhere else, because it is it's the world of unpredictability. because, if you've never seen it before, then you're not exactly 100% sure what's going to happen when they toe that line and the gloves come off. It's so ridiculously. And, I actually said this at my induction ceremony last year at the Bare Knuckle Boxing Hall of Fame. I said BKFC is a wave of the future created by the tide of the past.
That's I get. Yeah.
It is.
That's perfect.
It is. It's a wave of the future created by the tide of the past, because we have to give thanks and we have to take our hats off, which I'm doing right now. Hats off to John L. Sullivan and those bare knuckle brawlers back in the late 19th century that paved the way at the time. May have not have been the most legal outing as it was, but they're still the ones that kind of set the tone for the concept of bare knuckle fighting to begin with. So there's the tide of the past, and here's the wave of the future in BKFC. So hats off to you. Hats off to Scott Bird and the Bare Knuckle Boxing Hall of Fame for keeping an incredible lineage still alive. I mean, I'll tell you, when I accepted my Hall of Fame class ring and I got to give my speech, it was one of the proudest moments in my professional life. It really truly was, because it's amazing what Scott Bird has kept alive in Belfast. And when you go there, Josh, you're going to be blown away by what you see. And there's going to be so much more that you're going to see that I didn't see, because by the time we roll out for the 2020 Bare Knuckle Boxing Hall of Fame and we go check out Belfast, there's going to be more stuff that has sprouted up in Belfast that I haven't seen yet.
I'm ready to go. Let's go.
That you're going to see. That's been in development. So I'm just so excited, and you're going to be too. The festivities are definitely worth the 75-mile trip from where it is. So, like I said, man, just throw your shit in the back of my rental car, man. Let's go up to Belfast, have a good time.
I'm pumped, brother. I'm pumped.
You should be pumped, because it's a lot of fun. Now, let's go ahead and let's talk about the co-main event: Jim Allers and Caleb Harris. The ramifications leading up to this one were gargantuan. They absolutely were, man. I was so excited to hear the 2019 BKFC KO of the Year award winner, Caleb Harris, going up against the 2019 BKFC Fighter of the Year, Jim Allers, in a quarterfinal fight in the 155-pound tournament. And what was most relevant in this fight, if you ask me, Caleb Harris stopped the KO train of Jim Allers. He did not win the fight, but he stopped the knockout train. He absorbed what Jim had to bring. And that right there is a victory. That's a victory in itself, because Jim has just been this just unrelenting knockout beast. 3 straight fights against 3 very capable people on top of that, especially his last 2 fights. Steamroll, flat as a pancake. Absolutely. But that did not happen. And we saw a Caleb with just heart on his sleeves. Absolutely. So I was so proud of him. And, Jim didn't come out completely unscathed either. He did not. Jim worked for that. I remember when he was leaving, I remember when I was leaving the arena, he had ice bags on both his hands.
Yeah.
And he was busted up a little. So, I mean, it was a great fight, which ended up taking the fight of the night for BKFC 10. But Jim Allers was victorious on that via majority decision, which is amazing, because we had one judge score it even.
Yeah. So one of them scored a draw.
Yeah. We had one score draw. That's right. But now Jim Allers moving on to the semifinal fight. So chances are, I think it's going to be him, and it's probably going to be him and Palomino.
Palomino's on the other side of the bracket.
That's right. No, you're right. He's on the other side of the bracket. Yes.
We don't know the other 4 yet.
Not yet.
So, right, yeah. So we don't know the other 4 yet.
I jumped the gun. I'll be the first one to say. So, yes, he's on the other side of the bracket. So he will face the winner of whomever they decide who will be in the next round of the quarterfinals. Yeah.
But just to circle back to, you talked about Caleb Harris just showing tremendous heart. I mean, Lionheart, that's his fucking moniker.
I mean, that's his nickname. That's his nickname, Lionheart. Yep.
Like how much true to life. Like how many, there's tons of people that have crazy ass nicknames and crazy ass monikers, but Gustavo, Cuban Assassin, it fits him, right?
Oh, to a T. To a T, man. I mean, he reminds me of a Cuban Leon from from The Professional, man.
Oh yeah.
Seriously, man, I could see him with like a knuckle at your neck to his next victim, and he's like, "Do you understand? Then say it. I understand. Good." Just like the motherfucking movie, man.
What an amazing movie that was.
No, dude, that was one of my, still one of my favorites. It's on my phone. Is a permanent movie on my phone, and I'm going to tell you why. We're not going to go too far into it, but one of the greatest villain moments in movie history with Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman was actually voted within the top 10 villains of all time in the AFI rankings in that movie. He was so, oh my God, he would not be swayed. And you know how it is when it comes to gauging a villain. A villain has got to believe that what he's doing is completely right, no matter how fucked up his logic is. And it was. I still want to know what those little pills he took were. Because you remember he'd take that little pill, crack it in his teeth, and then have like an instant, just like a fucking orgasm. I'm like, what works that fucking fast? I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. The only thing that I can think of in a pill form that would work that fast would be amyl nitrate. I think if amyl nitrate were probably in a pill form, then probably it would work that fast. But that's working like instantaneously. Yeah, like giving him that kind of rush. I'm like,
as soon as he put it in his mouth, it was
and just cracks it open, and just the reaction to it is just boom. Yeah. It's instant. I'm like, what works that fucking fast? And the only thing I can think of is maybe some kind of pill form of amyl nitrate. I mean, that makes sense.
I don't know what that is exactly because I'm a little slow when it comes to pharmaceuticals.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is either, and I'm not exactly gonna make a rush for it. I'm just curious because, I mean, it was rather fast working, and it was, I mean, it could have been adrenaline in the form of that. I have no idea what it was. But the point of the matter is that it was a great villain. It was a great movie overall. In fact, it was one of those movies that actually had a great overall cast. Yeah. And Natalie Portman was definitely one of the stars that stuck out as young as she was, man. She was just, talk about, and you need to see the version of it, the extended version. The extended version of The Professional, and it's at the because it's a French film, and it was originally called Léon, The Professional. Yeah, you need to see the extended version because there were so many critical scenes that were left out from the theatrical release that I said to myself, why did you do that? There were so many scenes that were so integral to the plot of the storyline. I'm like, dude, these were great scenes. What are you thinking? No, seriously. Look for the director's cut extended version of Léon the Professional. You will thank me for that because these scenes are like, you'll say to yourself, how could these have been left out of the movie? How?
I will have to check that out because you
will have to. All right. Back on track. Back on track. There goes that train. Woo! Ugh, shit.
Hey, but you know what though? They've known this. If they've watched it since the first episode, we talk about whatever the hell we want, whenever
the hell we want. Damn
and
straight.
We do get back on track. Self-admitted. We'll get off track for a second. We'll get back on track.
Just maybe not when you want us to.
That's right. It is what it is. But hey, people love it.
But Jim Allers, advancing to the next round. Caleb. I'm gonna tell you, man. If you happen to catch this man, you better not hold your head down for even a microsecond. That was a victory in itself, brother. And I'm gonna tell you something. You made a shit ton of more fans.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you already had a shit ton of fans, but you made a shit ton more after this, after what they saw.
Yeah.
You exemplify what bare knuckle is all about. You went out there and you not only did you do your best, but like I said, you stopped the hype of a knockout train. And that's just awesome. And so more power to you, but definitely ups to Jim. Jim's still undefeated, 4-0 right now as a bare knuckle fighter. Moving on to the next round, a great co-main event. Once again, the BKFC 10 fight of the night. It was really something. It really was.
I don't know who else is in the tournament other than Palomino, but I mean, I have to say,
I haven't seen the bracket yet, and I haven't seen the release of the other side of the bracket.
Right. So I maybe I'm just flapping my gums here, but I I would almost be willing to bet that's probably him and Caleb Harris might be the toughest fight in the tournament, and he's gone through them. I think I just can't see Allers. Man, I just see him going all the way and getting. It's hard to say that. I probably shouldn't say that because I don't.
It might be a bit early to say it, but with the momentum that he's got, I mean, right now he's the only person in the tournament who's 4-0 as a fucking bare knuckle fighter. That's kind of hard to argue. That accolade.
I'm really anxious to see who the hell else is in that tournament,
and we're gonna see it sooner than you think. I'm telling you, brother. I mean, bare knuckle is moving with a purpose, and we're gonna be seeing that second part of the bracket release real soon. Now,
wait. As in, you're privy to the information?
No. I'm not telling any tales out of bed. I do not have any prior information about the bracket release, where it's going to take place and such. No, I am just speaking on experience with bare knuckle and what I have seen in anticipation to the second part of the bracket release. They're not gonna sit on it. We don't sit on things here. We move forward. So that's what I meant by that. But no, I am not privy to any information on the second part. No, I am not.
You think we'll? I'm not like official asking. We're just spitballing. You think he would officially? Not officially. What the hell am I trying to say?
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw in the next show or two.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, you think? I was gonna say. You think we'll see it in Wichita?
No, I don't think. Well, I mean, he may release it in Wichita.
But you don't think we'll see another?
No, I don't think we're going to see the second bracket, any fights in the second bracket of the lightweight tournament in Wichita. No, I don't. No, okay. Because the focus of BKFC 11 is really behind three people, in my opinion. Sam
Nico,
Shoemaker,
Caveman,
Nico, and Rickles.
And yeah.
I think that's where the majority, and of course the rematch.
Peralta and
Fiera. Yeah. And I think that's where it is. So I think that it would be kind of it'd be kind of a middle finger to them to kind of throw in the brackets for that. We need to save the brackets because that's a great card all in its own that doesn't necessarily need the second round of the second part of the brackets. Bracket.
Let me tell you what, I'm no one's paying me, and damn it, Feldman, I've been telling you, this is the fourth show now. I'm telling you, Fiera and Peralta, I think it's going to be a fight of the night, and I think it could have potential to be fight of the month, fight of the year. I am looking forward to it that much. Nobody's paying me to say that.
If they approach it, if they approach it the same way that they approached it in the first.
Oh my God.
If they approach anything cautiously, you're going to see a different fight. They weren't cautious the first fight.
They were throwing bombs.
And that's what they need to do again. Sometimes you don't need a different battle plan. Sometimes the battle plan that you saw the first time through was the right battle plan. It's just what connects. And Peralta was just fortunate on the first outing that she connected more and connected more efficiently. But again, nobody came unscathed out of that outing. They were both messed up. I think they both went to the hospital, didn't they? Yeah. Peralta's eye was completely closed.
Yeah, her eye was completely closed, and then Fiera.
Fiera had her jaw was starting to have kind of like a hematoma or something come out. I mean, it definitely looked off. But I mean, beyond hats off to that. That probably was one of the most entertaining and knockdown, drag out female fight I've ever seen.
I you know what, and I will add to that too. And this again, it's not a knock on anything else. I would probably say it's one of the best female fights that I've ever seen, MMA, whatever, across the board. And maybe that sounds a certain way. I don't care. It's one of the.
I should do. This is Loudmouth Fisticuffs. You're not supposed to fucking care.
That's right. That's right. And I'll say this too. That if you want to talk about your classic brawler, classic versus your classic technical striker, this is it.
Yep.
You know, Peralta is your, by definition, she is the classic brawler. Pierre is the classic technical striker. And when I say that neither one of them, if you watch their training videos, if you look at their social media, they are
it's nothing but.
They are very like-minded, and like they similar.
They're both warriors, and they work so hard.
Yes.
Christine very rarely posts something personal on her social media that isn't linked to her crazy training videos and the effort that she's putting into for this rematch. And that's what, and God damn it, I love them both. I really do. The work ethic that both of these incredible world-class athletes are showing is just it's off the page, man. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait to be in the tux and on the mic, pumping the Wichita fucking crowd up. And also this is also a special event for us because, as always, it's another first for BKFC. It is the first legal state sanctioned bare knuckle event in Kansas Kansas combat sports history. And I love being a part of these firsts. You know, this will now be our fourth state where we have obtained state sanctioning for bare knuckle. So this will now be 4 states and 1 foreign country that we've held this in, and we've got so many more states to go just this year alone.
Yeah, Alabama in April.
Alabama, yep.
Of
course, up in New York way in July, and we still got May and June coming your way. You know, we got May and June coming your way. We're gonna have there's so much that's gonna be headed in your direction. You think you're gonna be hit by a storm, man.
Let's pull it back first, but let's go back to the main event, BKFC 10.
All right, one of the most anticipated debuts in BKFC history, with my man Hector Lombard taking on freaking Dave Redneck Mundell, man. And ooh, boy, did these guys have a few choice words at one another at the press conference and at the weigh-ins, especially at the weigh-ins. I love what Dave said. He said, you retired for MMA, you retired from judo. He said, come Saturday, I'm going to retire you from bare knuckle. And as we all know, that didn't exactly work out that way. It didn't exactly work out that way. And, Hector ended up getting the unanimous decision. And, he looked good. I'm not going to say that he looked bad. He did not look bad. He had those big shots. I think it was a very cautious fight. It wasn't a horrible fight by any means. They gave us what they had, but I did see an air of caution. I did. I did see an air of caution in there. I didn't think that they left it twisting in the wind, which is exactly what we wanted to see, because we know the kind of punching power that comes from Hector Lombard. He's proven it in the past. This guy will knock you into next week. He'll knock you back into second grade and make you, and you'll end up finding out that you failed second grade math. Shit.
I think you're spot on with that. I think it's probably on both of them too. I think they were both a little bit hesitant. I agree. There was a I don't know if it was a lack of willingness to engage. It just looked like Dave was maybe waiting for something. Well, I mean, like you said, right? Like you said, Hector Lombard. It's Hector fucking Lombard, right? Like, you know what he can do. You know what he's capable of.
Biggest 201 pounder I've ever seen in my life. He weighed in at 201.7 pounds. Biggest 200 pounder I have ever. I've never seen anybody just at 200 pounds that big. It's incredible.
You know, and then of course, David Mundell, while he doesn't have the, you know, the
MMA pedigree, of course.
The MMA pedigree of a Hector Lombard. You know, he had 2 fights under his belt, and you know, he's no slouch. He's finished both of his fights. The first one against Drew
Hector said that he was going to quote unquote fuck him up, and he did not.
Right. You know, so I think they were both a little hesitant on each other, and
I think so.
Showed a little bit too much respect, you know, for the other, and.
I don't know. I mean, that may have been the case, but it looked like that there was a question mark on whether or not who was going to pull the trigger. And it looked like that, you know, they had their finger on the guard, but not necessarily on the trigger. And I didn't really see anybody pull the trigger in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, the talk of that fight, really the story of that fight was just, I mean, Hector was pressing the action. He was the one moving forward, and
Of course. And he's known for pressing the action. I mean, that's the thing. In his MMA career, he was known for pressing the action. You know, I mean, he's a judo player on top of that, and that's what judo players do. They press. Yeah. And he's an Olympic judoka. I mean, he was part of the 2000 Cuban national team in Sydney. So he's an Olympian. So, I mean, you know, there's an Olympian pedigree on top of also being the inaugural Bellator middleweight world champion. And having a background in the UFC. And those are wonderful attributes, but not all of them translate to bare knuckle.
Right.
So I just think that we saw a good fight, but we would have liked to have seen someone pull the trigger. And I don't think we got that the first time out. And, you know, hey, it is what it is. If they want to run it back, they'll run it back. I don't know if there's going to be an upside for running it back between the two of them. I'm interested to see what Hector's next move is going to be in bare knuckle, you know, because you always wonder about the big names, the bigger names that have come over from any other area of combat sports, and whether or not that they're going to take bare knuckle seriously and see this as a not necessarily a stepping stone, but a building, but a building format and where to build a foundation. And that's what we want. We want people to build foundations. We don't want people to look at this as a stepping stone to get back into the main game. You know, we don't want to do that for you. We want you to be stars of your own right with us. That's what we want. And I'm just going to be interested to see what Hector's next move is moving forward.
I tell you what I'd like to see at Hector Lombard is, and I hope nobody takes this. It's not a knock on him. Let's be honest. You know, Hector isn't the youngest guy in the room anymore. Does he still have it? Yeah, I'm not saying he doesn't have it. I'm not saying that he's not capable, but I think where Hector Lombard's strong suit is, Hector still has a hell of a name. People want to see him fight, right?
Absolutely.
People love Hector Lombard.
He's entertaining. And I love the fact, and this is definitely not a knock on him, but with his broken English, he tends to curse more than most people, and I love that. I've seen that with a lot of fighters who have broken English. Yeah. You know, it's always easier to resort to cuss words on that, and I love it. I love it. It's entertaining. It's the fight game. That's what we're supposed to hear. That's what we're supposed to see. I don't need everybody to be a GSP. I don't need everybody to be clean cut in a suit, well mannered. I want to see someone, you know, throw those F-bombs, and I mean literally. I mean more so than Dana White ever could.
Side story. I interviewed Vanderlei Silva at BKFC.
Yet another one.
Well, let me say this. I'm not afraid to say this. I don't mark out very often. Okay, I try to keep it professional as everybody.
Of course.
But let me tell you what: when you meet Vanderlei Silva, how the fuck can you not be just a little
in awe?
Because it's fucking Vanderlei Silva.
Plus, he's always got a smile on his face. You know, I mean, he seems like a good-tempered guy for the most part, and everything. Yeah.
You know, I go up, introduce myself to him, say, hey, I'm, with so-and-so, and, can we do an interview? Such a nice guy. And we're doing it, and, and I'm talking to him, and I'm pumped up. Like, I'm naturally, genuinely, I'm fucking pumped. I'm talking to Vanderlei Silva. This is fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And you just highlight, probably that's probably the highlight of my weekend. I'm just going to be honest. Or at least one of them. Maybe not the highlight, but anyway.
No, go ahead.
Top 3. So, we're talking, and I'm asking him, I'm like, Vanderlei, would you ever fucking get in there and do bare knuckle, blah, 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 blah. But, and broken English. You want to talk about broken English? There's only a couple words I could understand from Vanderlei. And it was just, all you could hear, you could make out the words was bare knuckle. It was, bare knuckle. Bare knuckle. That's all I could fucking understand. When he's
from Curitiba. He's from Curitiba in Brazil, and that's some hardcore Portuguese right there. If you know anything about Curitiba, that's hardcore Portuguese up that way. So that's kind of like how the accent always stuck with Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he was hardcore Austrian, and He didn't kind of shake his thing. No matter how much time that he spends in the States, Vanderlei is always going to have that thick accent, because that's just a region of Brazil to where it's just hardcore Portuguese.
And if you go back, you can go back on our YouTube channel, listen to it. But let me tell you what, I'm just like shaking my head. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, fuck yeah, bro. Like, I'm just getting
funny.
He's like, no, bare knuckle, no, MMA.
Take it easy, man. You may have to eat these words, even though that you may not have understood them. You may have to eat them.
Hey, I'm. This is not. This I love.
I know it's not a slide against him. I know.
I love fucking Vanderlei Silva. I will tell you what. I didn't care that I didn't understand half of the conversation.
You were just having fun being in his presence.
So I just make that clear. I love Vanderlei Silva.
I agree with you, because I had a similar experience that was kind of cool at that bare knuckle, and that was when I was up on stage and I did a brief interview with Antonio Bigfoot Silva.
Yeah.
And Antonio comes over, takes that huge paw and puts it right over my face. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's got a big hand. And it smelled good too. I mean, obviously this guy takes care of his hands. So, I mean, it smelled good on top of that. But the last person to do that to me was when I was 8 years old, was Andre the Giant.
No, really?
Yes. I never told you about that story, did I?
No, that's pretty fucking cool.
Very, very quick story. And then I swear to God, we'll get back on track. Okay. All right. No. Check this out. Back in, I think it was about 1986, Andre the Giant had a whole bunch of hobbies that he was known for, and one of them was coin collecting. Back in the 80s, my father owned a couple of antique coin stores between Rockford and Chicago, Illinois. Now, the one in Rockford was, definitely the one that he spent more time at. Well, when the WWF at the time came to Rockford, they would always go to the Metro Center, which was the main and only arena in Rockford at the time. So when Andre would get a little time off from in between everything that he did, publicity-wise, if he got the opportunity, he would come over to my father's store. And the cool thing about it is that my father actually had a special built stool for Andre, and it was this huge, probably about almost 4 feet tall, and it had to have weighed about 90 pounds, because it had to support his huge frame. When he came into the store the first time, he had to walk in sideways through the door. He was no 7'4", but he was a legitimate 7'1", and well over 550 pounds, probably closer to 600 about that time, actually. And he'd sit down, and he was talking to my father. And there was this one day that I was at the store with him. I don't know why I wasn't at school. I don't remember. But I was fanboying out. He's leaning against the counter, looks over at my father, kind of grins and everything. And then all of a sudden puts that big paw right over my face and in this just big French accent. Hey, you need to let your father talk more, kid. And that loud, laugh and everything. And I swear to God, man, I felt the tips of his fingers almost at the back of my fucking head. This huge fucking paw. So yes, he was, I don't know if he was like a friend of the family, but he was a business acquaintance with my father back in the day. And I did have an interaction with him. So that's a fun little story.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I had fun with that, man. That kind of reminded me back. So when that happened at that bare knuckle, it was like jumping in a time machine, man, like jumping in a DeLorean and kind of reliving that moment. And it meant a lot to me. I almost got teared up a little.
I saw the picture where it was you and Bigfoot. Someone took a picture of it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you tell him to do that, or did he just?
No, somebody else did. Somebody else did. I don't remember who. I still don't remember. I remember somebody saying that, and he did. And he did, and like I said, it just happened, and I was just like, oh, God.
Knowing your love for wrestling, I was thinking that I'm like, oh, Jeff is trying to do the Andre
Mean Gene thing, thing, the Mean Gene thing, and everything like that. No, somebody said that, and I just had that immediate throwback when that happened, back to that moment. Back, I think it was either April. No, it couldn't have been around WrestleMania. It was after WrestleMania. It was around probably June or July of 1986.
Wow.
About 34 years. Yeah, about 34 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was in bad shape too. Unfortunately, around that time, that was 1986, and he passed in 1993. So this was only 7 years before his death, and he was already in bad shape. And when he came in, I even remember it, and it showed. He was. It's such a shame that, he never took care of his gigantism issue. So it just weighed so much. And, it's like what Hulk Hogan said about him, at WrestleMania 7 in March 29th, which I was also there. I was at WrestleMania 3 at the Pontiac Silverdome, 4th row center. I was there. During the infamous Andre Slam. So I was there. And, that's where I fell in love with being a ring announcer. I remember exactly the moment that I fell in love with being a ring announcer. It was actually at the conclusion of the Macho Man Ricky Steamboat match, which still to this day is the greatest live wrestling match that I've ever seen. I've never seen a better match than that match. And I remember when he got the schoolboy on Macho Man and counted at 3 and the place went crazy. And you hear friggin' Howard Finkel, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this bout and new Intercontinental Champion. When I heard that, hearing the crowd go from like volume 4 to volume 400 with just a few well-placed words, I thought that was the coolest fucking job in the world. I was like, wow, what a response. And I was 9 years old at the time, almost 10. So I was still a little kid, but man, that left an impression on me. And that's where I fell in love with the job. And what a place to fall in love with what you're doing for a living at fucking Pontiac Silverdome, WrestleMania 3, March the 29th, 1987. 93,173 people in one building. But I did go to WrestleMania 32, so I have been at the Record Breaker, which was at the AT&T Stadium, which was 101,000 plus.
I've never been to a Mania, unfortunately.
You're missing it, man. You're missing it. It's quite an experience, man. It's unlike anything. I mean, it is the mecca of sports entertainment. But I think 3 had a more profound effect on me because of just all the cast of characters. And I got to hear Vince McMahon say at the beginning, here to sing America the Beautiful, the Queen of Soul, Miss Aretha Franklin.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I know. I do. I'm an impression. I'm a WWF impressionist, and to hear fucking Aretha Franklin sing "America the Beautiful" live, wow.
How cool is that too? Just, and maybe other people can't appreciate this, to see a big match like that with Steamboat and Macho to end on a schoolboy.
I know.
Great.
I know. It was a pickup slam that turned into a schoolboy.
Yeah.
It was getting ready to slam him, and he held on to it, and it turned into a schoolboy of all things. And they had great back and forth pinning combinations to where the ref was just getting blown up.
Yeah.
Blown up. And the storyline behind it was really good too, because that was the storyline where Macho had come down on the barricade with the double axe handle and messed up his larynx in his throat.
Yeah.
So it was a great one. I mean, there were great matches on that card. There was also the retirement match with Roddy Piper and Adrian Adonis. You remember adorable Adrian Adonis back in the day. Yep. And there was the Junkyard Dog versus King Harley Race for the kingship. For the kingship, and that was when he was King Harley Race with Bobby Heenan and the Fabulous Moolah had come out there. And then I remember what's his name, Bob Uecker, Mr. Baseball, ring announcing for the main event, and he had also dropped in for commentary. Best celebrity drop-in in the history of professional wrestling. Talk about a guy who took to WWF like a fish to water. Dude, the way that he worked WWE WrestleManias, it's like he'd been working for WWE his whole life. He dropped into it. Because I remember my favorite part of his that he ever did was WrestleMania 4 when he was doing the post-fight interview with Andre. After Andre had knocked Hogan out of the championship tournament. And all of a sudden you see Andre kind of lean up against Bob Uecker's shoulder. And he had his hand on there, and then he's talking, and like Bob's like, "Hey man, could you get your foot off my shoulder?" And then he chokes him and everything, and he's like, "Oh," and he sold it. And afterwards, after he choked him, he's selling. He's like, everything. I'm like, "Oh my God, the Uke is selling it. The Uke is selling it. This is so great." I'm marking out for a minute, man. But it's classic wrestling. It's where I grew up. It's the good stuff, man. I miss it. I'm not going to knock on new wrestling, but I'm going to love classic more.
It's not the same.
Yeah. It's not, and it's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. There's so many people that are wishing that they could rebirth the Attitude Era. You can't rebirth what was right for the time.
Right.
If you try to reboot it, it's going to look exactly how it does in the movies. It's going to be a reboot. It's not going to be the same.
That was lightning in a bottle.
Exactly. And it was going to fit. And you know what? It was going to fizzle out too. They were actually fighting for content. A lot of people thought that the Attitude Era had a really great run even the way to the end. I'm like, not really. It was starting to fizzle out, and things were actually starting to get a little ridiculous.
Well, it lasted like, what, 3 years? It wasn't like something that lasted like 10, 20 years. It was 4 years. It was 1997 to 2001. It was 97 to 2001. The Attitude Era officially started in 97. Yeah.
Yep. In 97 to 2001, and then the Ruthless Aggression Era ran, and that was great. In fact, I know we're getting off track of fight scene, but we do talk about wrestling on this. And I actually just watched the Ruthless Aggression episode with John Cena in it, where he was talking about his debut with Kurt Angle, and how he was saying, he actually said that the Ruthless Aggression angle, as great as it was an absolute failure. It was an absolute failure for him because he had nowhere to go from it. He had set the bar so incredibly high that the character fizzled out faster than it should have.
I'll never forget that promo when that was Kurt Angle was like calling out for
an opponent, and he comes out and he's like, "What do you have that make what do you have that you think that you no, it was ruthless aggression." And just a slap. Oh, and a slap right across the face. And that's where I know it was great. It was great. But he was right. There was nowhere for him to go until and him coming in to the Doctor of Thugonomics was an accident. It was a total accident. I don't know if you heard the story about how that happened, but he was on the bus with the boys one day, and he heard a bunch of them in the back freestyling. And he's like, let me go give this a try. So he goes back there, and he's just throwing down rhyme after rhyme, fast, putting all of them under the bus. And who happened to be at the front of the bus, hearing all this magic come through? Stephanie McMahon. And Stephanie happened to say, "Can you do this out there live?" And John's like, "Hell yeah." Rest is history. The rest is history. It's a beautiful story, man. It's a beautiful story that ended up becoming, just the most polarizing wrestler. Fuck superstar. I'm calling you a wrestler. Most polarizing wrestler, in my opinion, of all time. Of all time. Nobody has been more polarizing than John Cena. Nobody has been able to grasp the cheers and the boos better than John Cena.
I agree. I think he's probably number one. I would probably say maybe the only person that comes close was like Punk right before he left. He kind of had that. He was getting both.
Not to the
Not
degree.
like Cena. No, not like Cena.
Nobody had a 50-50 split like John Cena. And even so, and you want to talk about and the reason that I say polarizing, because you also have to remember ECW One Night Stand 2006 against Rob Van Dam.
That was
the most unforgiving crowd in the history. But no, man, with an awesome recap, Bare Knuckle BKFC 10 was a great success. It was a great event. Everybody had a good time. The place was packed. We had celebrities, coming out. We had quite a few WWE celebrities in the house too. I heard that Big Show was supposed to show, but unfortunately, I did not see the big man in attendance. But I did see Dana Brooke. Grace us with her absolutely gorgeous presence. Gotcha. Talk about cameras and pictures not doing a woman justice. Whew. She'd probably kick my ass for it, and I'd probably deserve it. But my goodness, that is one attractive female. Whew.
She's with Batista now.
That's why I said I could probably get my ass kicked. So, that's why. I'm hey. I made my bed. I'll lay in it. Shit. But no, man, it was a great event. I have more fun at Bare Knuckle than almost anyone that I work with. And I have a very select clientele that I represent on the mic. But Bare Knuckle is unlike anything that I've ever experienced before. Out of 17 years, this April, 17 years of announcing, it's unlike anything that I've ever represented in the combat sports world. It's awesome. It really is. And I'm not selling anything. I'm not being paid to sell this. This is my perspective, not only as an announcer, but as a fan. I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan. Fan first.
Jeff, I guess just to kind of tie things up, you were playing your role of Mr. Live Worldwide this past weekend. Because I know you were telling me, but where did you go? How was it? What was the town like? How were the fights?
Yep. We were having fun. ACA 104 in Krasnodar, Russia. That's southern Russia. We had a great night of MMA with Absolute Championship Akhmat at the Basket Hall Arena. This was my fourth time to Krasnodar, and let me tell you something about that city. Some of the most outrageously hardcore MMA fans I've ever come across in my life. I have never heard such passion in a medium-sized arena. We definitely had only about probably 6,000 or 7,000 people. That's still a good crowd for MMA, don't get me wrong, but it sounded more like 25,000, 50,000. They were just the unbridled passion that was just going through that building was just incredible. It really was awesome. We crowned a few new champions. Azamat Kerefov, a longtime undefeated ACA fighter, ended up picking up the World Flyweight Championship. And Muhammad Vakayev, former ACB World Heavyweight Champion before we made the name change to ACA, now became the ACA World Heavyweight Champion. So it was a great night of fights. I think we had 14 fights total on the card. We usually have anywhere from 14 to 16 fights on each card. My buddy Herb Dean is the lead official over there. He's my road brother as well, and we had a great time over in Krasnodar. Our next one is going to be ACA 105, and that's going to be next week, next Friday, in Almaty, Kazakhstan. So good stuff, man. I that's another ACA, in my opinion, is one of the top MMA organizations in the world. They rank up there, man. They put fighters first. It kind of goes to their motto: less show, more fighting. We've gone dark on this side, man. I'm going to tell you, I saw when you put your hand up there, I saw your lifeline on there, man. It doesn't look too promising for you there, man. Might want to lay off those Big Macs. I'm just fucking with you.
That's that one, right? That one?
I'm just kidding, man. I don't know. I didn't see shit, man. Your hand went over the fucking lens, and I just saw black. Okay, all right. I see what you're working with now. Fuck.
Just out of curiosity, maybe you can answer this. When it comes to announcing, especially like you're in a foreign country like Russia, because the last names to me sometimes sound like gibberish. Okay. Do you have a cheat sheet, or is your memory that good and you memorize?
Oh, no. Once you've done it as much as I have, especially in that I've been with ACA now for 2 years. It's been 2 years this month, and a lot of the guys who fight on the card are regulars and have fought on ACA cards very, very regularly. So the Russian names are getting easier and easier because I'm really starting to understand the intonations behind the names. But the one thing, if I'm going to be talking about any kind of names that are hard to pronounce as an announcer, for me, it's all about the Polish names. Polish names, in my opinion, are the hardest to pronounce because, number one, they don't look like anything like they're said. I'm talking to myself here, so that's all right. I know I'm keeping it going for the sake of our listeners, not trying to let them know that you're being unprofessional. I'm just kidding. And I know. I get it. And no, it's the Polish names that I think that throw me for the loop the most because they don't look like anything like they should be pronounced. And there are certain ways that they're said when you live in that region, like the noises that your voice makes from that region. That's a little hard to master because it doesn't sound like anything that you would recognize or understand. So I think it's the Polish names that throw me. Russian names, I've got a really good handle on now. So I really don't have an issue. And everybody always asks me that about pronunciations where something, it looks like gibberish or like what the hell, how the hell can you break that down? Well, just like anything, repetition, dude. The more you do something, the better you get at it. So that's just the way that it is. But it's just those days. And we're going to Poland at the end of April in Warsaw, and that's when it's going to be a challenge. That's when it's going to be a challenge for me because that's when the Polish names come out, and those are you really want to do your best foot forward when it comes to the correct pronunciation. And I always ask for pronunciation of how you would pronounce it in your city, in your country. That's very important to me. It's very important to me that I get that right because you're going in there and you're putting your ass on the line. So the very least that I could do is say your name with say it with pride for you. So knowing that that's who you are and where you're representing geographically.
If my memory serves me correct, in Cancun, didn't you announce like the decision in Spanish?
I did. I announced it. I did a few introductions. Very, very lamely, but I did the best that I could. I definitely should improve on my Spanish, which I intend to do. Here I come, Rosetta Stone. But but yes, I did. Yes, I did do some of the decisions and some of the introductions in Spanish. Yes, I did.
Huh. Yeah, I think I was watching. I went back and watched Cecilia Flores versus.
I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed in that one. The sound system was so messed up on that. Unfortunately, sometimes it does happen in baseball fields to where there's a big amount of space between the receiver and the transmitter for your microphone, and you have this horrible delay and echo. And that's where the problem was, because I wish I had had an earpiece so I wouldn't have to listen to myself, because when you listen to yourself, when you have that echo, it throws off your timing, and badly. So I was not pleased with that performance at all. So I always make sure that I have an earplug with me in those situations from now on moving forward. So that way I don't have to listen to it and I can just go. You don't know it until you hear it, man. Seriously, you don't know it until you hear that delay and that echo, and it throws you off, man. Doesn't matter what kind of professional you are, man. So it's best to kind of be oblivious to it. Be the ostrich with his head in the sand in that situation.
Leave it to Jeff Houston with all the good metaphors here. I love it.
What the hell? If I don't give you the metaphors, then what the fuck am I doing here for, man? Shit. And look at us, man. We are going long over time, but it's understandable because we did not give you the good stuff last week. So we're going a little over time on this one to compensate for not being here and giving you an earful of just nonstop motor mouth in your face shit.
That is very true. And to the people who are coming back again this week, we appreciate you. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to hit that. That's right. Hit that thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit that good old subscribe button. That really helps us out.
Guys, we need you to do that. We thank you so much for watching, but we need you to get involved. Like I said, there's enough for you to put your thumbs down of throughout your lifetime. Don't make Loudmouth Fisticuffs one of those times where you put your thumbs down. Put those thumbs up, man. Be positive. Think positive. We'll keep giving the goods, and we will keep doing everything we can. We may not do it every week because some of our schedules can get quite hectic, but we're going to give you everything we got when we get on the mic. Put those thumbs ups, watch us, subscribe to us, and we will keep giving you the goods and turning out good shows. Guaranteed. We'll even have guests. We'll even have guests every now and then, because eventually people are going to get sick to shit of us going back and forth on each other. I mean, there's only so many verbal barbs and verbal sparring matches that we can have. Even though I'm going to win all of them, there's still only so much that we can do. So guests are forthcoming, but it's only our 4th show. So you got to crawl before you walk.
I mean, speaking of guests, hey, another thing you can do. Leave comments down below. Tell us what
you'd like to see. Who do you want to see? Yeah.
Tell us, is there anything you want us to do? We've batted around ideas of like watch-alongs. We'll watch a fight and kind of sync it up to where you guys can watch it with us, and we'll kind of give our comments. We've thought about that. Who would you like to see if we were going to go that route and get guests on the show? Is there anybody you want to see? I don't know. Tell us. We don't know. We can't read your mind. We can't. I know Jeff claims to be a mind reader.
Fuck that. Are you kidding? Don't put that shit on me. How many times have I have claimed to be many things. And I've said this to my wife, especially. I claim to be many things, but a mind reader I will never lay claim to. No way.
When it comes to the wives, you are there is no such thing. They think we are.
Yeah, well, trust me. Thank the Lord, my wife isn't the type that says, "Oh, I shouldn't have to tell you what I'm thinking. You should already know."
Oh. And if I have to explain it to you, then you must not care.
Oh God. Yes. That's it. Yeah, ladies, you got us pegged. Come on. You got a front part of your brain for a little bit. I'm not saying you don't use it, but in that situation, you are not. I'm not trying to be sexist. I'm not trying to be misogynistic about anything. What I am saying, though, is that when you say, even if you're a guy, if you say stupid shit, then you're gonna get stupid shit thrown back in your face. We're not mind readers. We're not supposed to be thinking about what you are thinking about. If you have something to say to us, then tell us. Don't anticipate us to be all-knowing when it comes to mind reading, because we're not mind readers, and we're not supposed to be mind readers in any way, shape, or form. If something is bothering you, talk to us. If you want to know something or what we're thinking, ask us. But don't assume. Just don't do that. I don't care how long you've been with somebody. We're not mind readers. I mean, we may anticipate certain things, but as far as knowing exactly what you're feeling and how it is, you got to say something, darling. Say something first, please.
And that was Jeff Houston's relationship advice for the day. You're welcome. There's a PayPal link down below. Give him a donation for that. And
I did not say that. We are not hosting relationship sessions with Jeff Houston. That's not happening on Loudmouth Fisticuffs. It's just a sidetrack.
Maybe we should do a Patreon for that, Jeff. If someone donates X amount of dollars.
Oh my God. You're making me out. God, you're making me out to be Combat Sports Dr. Ruth.
Hey, man. Someone's got to be it. Why not you?
Oh, somebody has to be it. Just because I said it, somebody has to be it. Just because you say it, I have to be it. What kind of world is this, man? Jesus Christ.
Guys, I guess on that note,
that's a good note to end on.
We're getting a little crazy, so I guess it's time to end the show. Once again, we appreciate your time so much. Thanks to you for listening to us wherever you're listening to us at, and can't say thank you enough. On that note, for Mr. Live Worldwide, Jeff Houston over there, I am Joshua Furs, and you just listened to Loudmouth Fisticuffs, and we're out.
Episode 4, baby. Peace.